So in our last video, we looked at box and whisker plots and how our calculator could help us. But let's go ahead and take a look at a different type of graph that we'll be responsible for knowing for, called a cumulative frequency graph. So we did a frequency bar chart, but now let's take a look at what happens when we need to do it, well, through a cumulative lens. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Cumulative frequency. So let's say in this example, we're given 50 batteries that were tested to see how long that they would last. And the results are shown in this table. And let's draw a frequency diagram to find the median and interquartile range. Now, let's think about this. If I am given the time as a range, so let's say these batteries last between 0 and 5 hours, 5 and 10 hours, 10 to 15 hours, 15 to 20 hours, so on and so forth. And then this is the number of batteries that lasted in each of those time intervals. But let's create a new box that says cumulative frequency. So let me write cumulative frequency. And what that is, well, it's the frequency on a cumulative level. So you really are just accumulating frequencies as you go down and down. So what that means is that I had 3 batteries that lasted between 0 and 5 hours. But now, when I now have 5 new batteries in between 5 and 10, I now have a cumulative frequency of 8. So I am making everything cumulative. I am adding each and every value of the frequency as we go through these different intervals. So now that I have 8, I would have 16, then I would have 26, then I would have 38, then I would have 45, then I would have 50 batteries. So it should, because based on the problem, I had 50 batteries that were tested. So this all should add up to 50, because if it doesn't, that means we made a mistake somewhere. So how do we go about drawing this? So let's go ahead and figure out what our scales and axes should be. So my bottom here, I'm going to write time. And up here, I'm going to write cumulative frequency. Now, let's go ahead and properly label and structure these axes in terms of the numbers. I think 3 would be a nice size. All right, so let's say that I would have hours. All right, so I have 0 to 5, 5 to 10, all the way up to 35. So let's go ahead, and on this graph paper, I'll put 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 is the highest, right? Yep. All right. Then I have cumulative frequency here. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. Because remember, at the very end, I want 50 total batteries. So 50 total batteries would be right here. So from 0 to 5, and this is how we're going to approach these cumulative frequency graphs. So if I'm going from 0, which maybe I'll actually add that there. If I'm going from 0 to 5, right? From 0 to 5, I'm going to have 3. Okay? So what that means is that I am going to have 3. Okay? And I'll go ahead and let me actually mark this in a different color. I'll go ahead and mark it as 3 right there. Then from 5 to 10, I'm going to have a value of 8. So I'm going to have 8 between 0 and 10. Then, as you can see, I'm kind of going through from 10 to 15. So at the end of 15, I have 16. So go 15, go up here to 16. Then 15 to 20, I'll have 26. Then I'll have 38 at the end of 25. Right? Then 45 at the end of 30. So 30, I'll have 45. And then 50 at the end of 35. So this is going to look like when I connect them. Remember, you don't want to draw a straight line because this is not a linear relationship. But it'll start from 0, go to here, 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 and then kind of smoothing out a little bit, just like that. So now that we have that drawn, let's go ahead and answer some of the basic questions, which was find the median in the interquartile range. So remember that the median is you take the total number of terms and you add 1, and then you divide that by 2 to figure out what the middle value is. So if I have 50 plus 1 over 2, that's going to give me 51 over 2. That is going to give me to 25.5. Okay, so what that means is that it's going to be like the 25th place. So now that I want to find the median, I know that since I have an even number, I'm just going to take n and divide it by 2. It's going to be 50 over 2. So whatever is in the 25th value, the 25th place, that is going to give me my median. So if we think about this, I have 26 total up to from 15 to 20. Okay, so that means that my 25th must be between 15 and 20. So I'll go ahead and I'll actually say that my 25th value, my median, will be 20. Okay, because again, what we're doing with our cumulative frequency graph is we're basically plotting these against the end value. Now, let's say that we want to know, or let's say we know that if the bottom 10% of batteries are discarded, well, then what's the battery lifetime that the batteries are discarded? So if we have 10%, okay, that's going to be a nice 0.1. Well, how many batteries do we have? Well, we have 50 batteries, meaning that we have a value of 5. So what does that mean? It means that the bottom 5 batteries are going to be discarded. So let's take a look. This is our cumulative frequency, right? So if we look at 5 as the number of batteries that we are taking into consideration, where is that on the graph? Well, that is going to give us a battery lifetime of about 7.5 or 8 hours. So let's round that up and just say, like, well, it's actually going to be at 8 hours. Okay, all I did was I looked at my graph and said, like, okay, well, 10% of the 50, that's the bottom 5 batteries. Here's my value for battery. Where is that in terms of battery life? It's around 7.5 or 8. So if a battery is not going to last for more than 8 hours, it's going to get chucked. So now we're asked, let's estimate the 80th percentile battery life. So let's figure out where the 80th percent of the data set is. So if I have 80% of 50, well, then what that's going to tell me is that that is going to be 40 batteries. So if it's below 40 batteries, well, then that's going to be less than 80%, isn't it? So let's go ahead and take a look at 40 right here. And where does that meet the graph? Right around here. And I would go ahead and call that around 26, 27 hours. So the 80th percentile for battery life, I would say, is about 26 hours or so. 27 will also be acceptable just because of the way we're using the graph. But again, that's how you go from looking at one axis to finding the point to figure out the information you need on the other. I hope that helped you with cumulative frequency. As you can see, that we can basically take a table and add on to that another column, adding up the number of times that something is happening in order to get the cumulative frequency. And then not only can we graph it, but we can go ahead and ask ourselves some questions about percentiles or medians, or what have you. And we can sometimes look at the x-axis to figure out what that point is on the y that we need, or look at the y-axis and look on the graph to see what x point we need. All right, it can go in either different direction. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.